Hello and welcome to the Pleasurepreneur podcast. This podcast will help you create what you desire in your business with pleasure. Whether that be calling in your ideal clients, making more money, or creating a balanced business life blend. I'm your host, Regan, pleasure and business coach, published author of A Mother's Pleasure, wife and mama to 3 little wildlings. However you're choosing to listen to this podcast, ask yourself, how can I make this more pleasurable? And do just that. I acknowledge the custodians of the land on which this podcast is recorded and produced, the Wadi Wadi people of Dharawal land. Now, let's proceed with pleasure. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. It is 8 p.m. and I very, very rarely work at night. But I was just like laying in bed between my 4 and 6-year-old. They still like to share a double bed because they like to snuggle each other. And they're going to sleep and I'm laying there with my mind ticking over. Oh my gosh, I have to share this conversation. Like sometimes I have my episodes planned out in the sense of it could be kind of the bare bones of it. I know perhaps what like the rough title, the working title might be, and I probably have some dot points. Other times I'm even more organized and I've been able to get all of my thoughts and the whole conversation into my document and I've basically scripted out an episode. But tonight I have got like a few pieces floating around in my mind and I don't feel like I have the time, or actually I don't desire to take the time this evening to try and make them all polished and fit them in together. I'm just going to let this organically flow. And so I want to start by sharing a story that I shared a long time ago on Instagram. And it was when we were about to go down the coast. And, I said to my 7-year-old at the time, I said, hey, mate, can you make sure your room is tidy before we go? And he was like, no, why do I have to do that? Why? Oh, mom, as they do. Why? And I was like, well, because we're going to go away for a nice week. Like the last thing you want is to come home from a great time away from having all that fun and be met with an untidy living environment. Let's do a tidy before we go away so we come home and it doesn't feel like a headache. It feels like an exhale. He was like, no, mum, I'll just do it when I get home. Like it'll be better. I'll just do it then. I'll do it like when we get home. It'll be easy kind of thing. And that's the thing, right? He thinks it'll be easier later, but it won't. It won't be easier later. He's just deferring his discomfort to a later date. He's just like prolonging his resistance to the work for a later date. But to him, in his mind, it'll be so much easier when I get home. I just really don't want to do it now. He thinks that he can do it later, that it will feel easier later, and that the resistance will be gone by then. And I can empathize. I can empathize with this too, right? I can empathize with this too because I've done this plenty of times before, and I bet you have too. In fact, I've seen it in what we do in our businesses where we prolong decisions or taking action or doing things that feel uncomfortable now to avoid the discomfort and the resistance, assuming or expecting that it will be easier later. And we just think that like time will solve the problem. What you think will feel easier or more comfortable or more motivating down the track, it won't be. Like selling your offer isn't easier later. Deciding to invest in yourself and your business isn't easier later. Inviting people to work with you isn't easier later. Having hard conversations with your partner for time from the kids to do your work, that doesn't feel easier later. Going live or speaking in your stories or like your face-to-camera videos aren't going to feel easier later, right? Putting off the uncomfortable for later is actually really costing us now. It is costing you now, right? It's costing you time you can't get back, money from not signing your dream clients, personal and professional growth, that it takes to move through the uncomfortable. You're not making money and signing clients consistently, perhaps because you're putting it off for the illusion of it feeling more comfortable later. We wait because we think it'll be easier to do later. And so we wait and we delay, and we actually then rob ourselves of opportunities, growth, lessons, income. And like most importantly, and this was like the main thread of like where this conversation has come from when I was laying in bed between my two little beauties, we rob ourselves of personal power that comes from moving now and honoring your desires when you have them, right? And this got me thinking about other ways that we, you know, give our power away by in other ways of business. So something I was thinking about was if I hear my clients say, "Oh, well, I'll wait for a sign," or, "Oh, this could be a sign." And I'm like, you know what? I absolutely do believe in a greater power, in divine, in synchronicities. But what I do not subscribe to is waiting for a sign, because what we're doing in that process is we are handing over our power. We are putting that power outside of ourselves. Of course, like this doesn't mean every time you think of something that you desire that you have to jump on it if it's going to feel unsafe for you. There is a difference between discomfort and, oh my God, this feels scary, and like it's simply feeling unsafe. But if we are putting our power in the universe to give us a sign, or in time, assuming that at a later time, like time's going to fix that problem for us, we're actually giving away our power. I do not wait for signs from the universe. As I said, not because I don't believe in guidance or synchronicity or divine timing. I absolutely do. But I believe even more deeply in that the universe doesn't lead, it responds. It responds to our power. It responds to clarity, to movement. It responds to that energy in motion. So many women that I work with or speak to, powerful, capable, creative women, keep themselves small and keeps them from, generating more of that momentum by convincing themselves they're waiting for alignment, or waiting for a later date, or waiting for a sign, or, fill in the blank. What they're really waiting for is permission. What they're really waiting for is for it to feel easy, waiting for it to be certain, waiting for a sign that's so clear it removes all the risk and all the responsibilities from themselves, right? But here's the truth that I feel like no one wants to say out loud. If you need a sign to move, you've already decided not to trust yourself. And that is what is keeping you stuck. That is what's slowing your growth, slowing your momentum. That sense of not trusting yourself, of not being enough yet, of having to wait for a sign or for time or for it to feel easy or for it to be certain, you're losing so much of your personal power to actually make the decision and create what it is that you desire. Yeah? There is such a cost of waiting for the right moment, or waiting for things to be perfect. Or I can think of so many examples here, waiting for all your children to sleep through the night. If I was waiting for that, I would still be waiting. We still, especially now in the middle of winter, we still often get our 6 and 4-year-old climb into bed with us. If I was waiting for our kids to never wake us up during the night, as I said, my 6-year business would not have even been birthed yet, or waiting to make the money first. I had such an interesting conversation with someone recently, a woman who has been in business for, close to a decade, who was afraid to invest at a bigger level for herself because she felt like she needed to have made more money first. And I was like, hey, that's kind of backwards, right? This is how I see it anyway. It's kind of backwards. It's kind of like getting fit in order to hire a personal trainer. Like, you don't need to get fit before you hire a personal trainer. And that's the kind of example I used. And she said, yeah, but you got to have a base level of fitness, which was really eye-opening for me, because what that illustrated to me, without her even saying anything, is that she didn't feel like she had a base level of business yet to invest in that level. She was waiting for some kind of permission or some kind of sign or some kind of, maybe amount of money in the bank or numbers of clients signed before she could allow herself to believe that she had a base level of business in order to give herself the higher investment support that she desired, you know? And that is the thing that would be, that's the kind of thing that is actually stopping us from creating the results that we desire. It's not because we need the sign. The sign is not the thing that creates the results. You know, the full nights of sleep, like the circumstances are not what create the results. We are what creates the result. And what stops us from creating the result is the belief that we're just not quite there yet. And if we just get a sign, or we just get another 6 more months, or we just get another 3 clients, or we just get another, I don't know, 5 grand in the bank, or whatever it might be, then we can believe to see ourselves in a different way. Then we can let ourselves move. Then we can let ourselves step into the person that we become from taking that action. Ooh, I'm like goosebumping up right now. I'm so glad I didn't try and, write this all out, right? Every time you wait for the perfect condition, the perfect moment, the sign, for it to feel easy and comfortable, you delay the very thing you say you want. You might think you're waiting for clarity or timing or readiness or a full night's sleep, but what you're really doing is stretching the gap between the desire and the knowing of what you want and the going and getting it, between the desire and the action, between the desire and the result. That gap, that's where the friction grows. That is where doubt gets louder, where we really start to question ourselves, where we procrastinate even more, where we feel like, oh God, like it's going to be harder. And this is what I said to my son. I'm like, just do it now. Just do it. Power tidy now. Make it take 5 or 10 minutes while we pack the boat and just do it now. Because that gap, that gives us time to be like, oh, I've got to do that thing, right? That creates that friction. That's what creates the drag. I'm just thinking about actual physical friction of something like Velcro or something, right? It creates the drag. Yeah, it doesn't create a smooth, easeful, aligned flow. Yeah, that kind of gap, that's where our doubt gets louder. That's when we start to kind of question things. That's where energy leaks start to drip, right? We create more of those holes like a colander. And then you burn more energy thinking about the thing than it would take to just do it. Yeah, think about making a decision that you want to make. I bet if it feels like a big move for you, I bet that the thinking about that decision is taking 100 times more energy and time and mindset loops, thought patterns, on repeat, than it is just to make the decision. Making a decision literally takes half a second. You know what you want. Let yourself make the decision. Let yourself have what you want. You don't want to start second guessing your goals, second guessing your vision, second guessing your desires. The greater the gap between knowing you want something and not giving it to yourself, or should I say the greater the gap between knowing you want something and giving it to yourself, or deciding to take action towards the thing, the greater time and energy you have to spend, as in to waste, to cost you, on questioning whether you're even the kind of person who gets to have what you want. And you'll tend to fall then back into those safe patterns, the cheap offers or the overgiving or the constant tweaking of, oh, maybe it's the price, I'll change the price, rather than just being bold. I'm thinking now just of an example of maybe you have decided to create this whole new offer and it's at a higher price point and you're all over it, you're in love with it, you feel so good. And then you're going to launch it and release it and even maybe just share about it with someone who's in front of you who you're like, oh my God, this person will be ideal for this offer. I can help them with these results that they want to create. This is exactly what I do. And then you pause and you wait because you feel like it's going to be easier later. Or because you pause and you think, oh, I'll wait for a sign to, slide into their DMs and share that with them. Or I'll wait until I've hired a client or made X amount of money on a lower offer, right? And then you're going to start tweaking bits of the offer. And anyway, so that's just an example that came to mind. Instead of just saying to that person in front of you, hey, this is an amazing offer, I would love to share with you. It's taking me back to an experience that really cemented this for me. I had a 5 month, I don't want to say drought, but like really, I was like consistently, somewhat, I want to say incrementally growing my business. You know, when you start to have those like times where you're like, oh, that wasn't a fluke. Oh, it's like it's happened too many times that it's not a fluke, right? And then I had about 5 months where I was meeting with people, I was having consults, etc., and I didn't get any yeses. Actually, no, sorry. I think I got a couple, but they were like lower investment offers that I gave. That it wasn't my main offering. Anyway, I started to do more of this work, like reminding myself, like, I can fail with pleasure. That was my challenge at the time. That was my goal. I didn't know it was going to last for 5 months. And when you're in it, it feels so long and so, oh my God, this is never going to end. And I was like, yeah, that's right. I don't actually know if this is ever going to end. And it's going to take a lot longer by me being in resistance to it than by me like finding some version of pleasure in it, which sounds kind of sadistic, but hey, I like to walk my talk, you know? And so I made it a bit of a challenge. Anyway, so after those 5 months, I signed 2 clients within hours of each other. Both paid me within 2 days, right? Like I went from having hardly any signups in 5 months to having a $12,000 day. That was when I used to charge $6,000 per one-on-one client. And here's the thing. With one of those clients, the week before, I had started talking to her at Bush Kinder drop-off, right? We had seen each other during the term. Obviously, as you drop off kids, you say hello and there's politeness, right? Anyway, we got talking and I was just like really curious about her and I was asking like what she did for work and things like that. She didn't mention anything about growing a business or anything at all. Then she asked me what I did. And I said, yeah, I am a pleasure-led business coach. And she was like, oh, okay, that sounds so interesting. Tell me a bit more. And I shared with her the work that I do with my clients. And she was like, no way, this is exactly what I'm like looking for at the moment. I'm actually considering starting my own business, yada, yada, yada. And in the past, I would have totally been like, oh, that's so great. Yeah, okay, well, here's my Instagram or here's my podcast or here's something free I can offer you. Even though my heart is, she would absolutely skyrocket from us working together. Set her up with these pleasure-led foundations, right? Long story short is instead of delaying offering her a consult, when I knew I felt the feeling and it felt uncomfortable and it felt embarrassing and it felt like, don't be salesy. Like this is just another fellow mum dropping off her child. Don't be salesy. Don't be pushy, you know. But I knew my desire was to offer her, you know, at least a consult to have that conversation. And so I didn't wait and I didn't pause and I didn't wait for a sign and I didn't wait for longer time or more conversations to happen. And so I said, hey, why don't we have a coffee next week? And, you know, I can tell you what I do. And if it aligns with you and you want to go ahead, we could potentially start working together. And she was like, yes, let's do that. And I was like, awesome. Number one, I love personal catch-ups. So if you're local to me and you want to have a consult, it is such a gift to me as well. So anyway, like that really cemented it for me that I am so powerful when I move with my desires the moment I feel them. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of times when I delay and there's been a big gap. For example, just recently, I have hired a VA to help me in my business these last few weeks. It's been amazing. But I had thought of that 12 months ago. I felt the desire for that 12 months ago, you know, and I put it off during that time because it's uncertain, you know, as in like being a business owner. I don't know, apart from obviously payment plans, we don't know. We don't know what income is coming. We don't know what sales are coming. We don't have an employer who, you know, gives us a capped salary that we know is coming, right? So there's that uncertainty. There's that added responsibility of having someone not on my payroll because I don't hire her as a staff member, but someone who I need to, and I want to say like joyfully pay her, you know? And so there was a number of things that felt like quite big and uncomfortable for me. And so, yeah, I took myself what I call a fuck around and find out walk, which is I'm just going for a bit of a walk. And in my mind, I'm kind of like searching through my body, my heart, my desires, as I said, my mind, like where am I in my business not fucking around and finding out? where am I taking the comfortable, easy road? And immediately on that walk, I knew, I was like, I need to hire a VA. And so I got really clear that's what I wanted to do. And so I did it. But yes, there was a good year, I would say, a year or even 18 months gap between originally desiring that, as in like now's the time, and actually giving that to myself. You're here listening to this podcast because you are a badass. You do not subscribe to what society tells us about business success and personal pleasure, that one has to come at the cost of the other. You're not here to settle for a life that gives you just enough space and pleasure to have slow mornings with the kids, fit in a Pilates class and make the homemade meals, but still has you checking your account every time you buy groceries, still scrimping on things you never thought you'd have to scrimp on, still kicking ass for free or for a few hundred a month instead of thousands. And you're definitely not here to build a business that makes bank but leaves you bored, burnt out, and stuck in your own version of the rat race. You know you can have both. You know you can make great money in your business to book the family holiday, buy the good skincare, and never have to check your account approaching the checkout again, and live a life that has white space for what you desire to fill it with, to feel lit up and on purpose, present with the ones you love, prioritizing what matters to you most. You know you can have both business success and personal pleasure. You just haven't worked out the how yet. You can either work it out on your own, investing a lot of time, frustration, dare I say a few quits with a baby Q along the way, and costing yourself in aligned clients and missed opportunities. Or you can join us in the Pleasurepreneur Mastermind, where you learn how to create both the thousands a month in your account and the enjoyment in your life and relationships. The Mastermind is the room where you become the coach or mentor your clients have to hire, where you create offers you love delivering and selling with that shout it from the rooftops energy, making it so easy to create sales that feel simple and authentic, not salesy and awkward. It's where you set yourself up with a strategy that is ideal for you and the lifestyle you want to create for yourself, that honors your desires and your top values. It's where you meet regularly with a group of like-minded women with the same focus to create multiple four-figure months, leading a pleasure-filled life. You know it's possible for you. You just have to reach out and claim it. Do that by sending me a DM to start the conversation or by clicking on the link in the show notes for more info. The doors to the Pleasurepreneur Mastermind are now wide open and waiting for you. Now, let's get back into the episode. What I have learned over and over from, even just those couple of examples that I've shared is that the decisive action collapses time. The moment you act on your desire from trust and not fear, your energy shifts. Think back to that example of the mum at bush school, drop out at bush school drop off, right? When you take that decisive action, you move into alignment, not because you had all the signs, but because you became the sign, right? Like you embodied the version of you who knows what she wants and goes after it with clarity, with conviction, with pleasure. This is the true strategy behind my best results, right? I always say desire is the strategy. Desire reveals the strategy. Like you can have the best laid out plans, but what works the most powerfully, what I've seen work the most powerfully is having a desire of what it is you want to create or what it is you want to offer or what it is you want to bring into this 3D existence. And then letting that be the next step. Yeah. Now you're going to have plenty of ideas around what you think the purpose of that desire is. For example, I have just currently, I feel like it bubbles up to the surface like an effervescence, like popping a champagne bottle, right? Like I have felt this desire for an in-person event like now. I'm not going to be holding it right now. I don't actually have the capacity to hold it right now, but I'm like, yeah, I've made the calls. I've booked something in. It's happening. I am choosing to honor my desire and I'm choosing to let the strategy reveal itself. And look, I might have my ideas, as I said, about what I think the purpose of that desire is. an in-person get together. And so in my mind straight away, because our little brains, our beautiful brains want to quantify everything and say, oh, okay, well, it's probably to, call in your next one-on-one clients, or I can have these presumptions, but in fact, the desire might have a completely different purpose. And maybe that's a conversation for another day. So as I said, the true strategy behind my best results is honoring my desires, right? It's not the copy on my sales page. It's not just the Instagram stories, but the fact that when I know what I want, I move. I let myself have it. I take the action, even when it's messy, like the messy action all the way, even when the timing isn't perfect. And hello, launching through school holidays. Even when the fear is there, I choose to align with the outcome, not the obstacle. Yeah. And this is what it means to be a pleasurepreneur. Being a pleasurepreneur doesn't mean you're always comfortable. It doesn't mean that you're always like, oh, everything's so pleasurable and lovely, right? Don't hold back from working with me one-on-one or in the Pleasurepreneur Mastermind because you think, business isn't pleasurable for me yet. I haven't worked out how to make business completely pleasurable. I'm actually not enjoying parts of my business. That's like going back to the initial conversation of having the circumstance be in the way, right? Like expecting that the circumstance is actually going to change the outcome. Yeah, it's the example of needing to be fit before you work with the PT. Yeah, or needing to make more money before you hire a business coach. Yeah, being a pleasurepreneur does not mean it's always pleasurable, it's always comfortable, it's always certain. It means you know how to meet the stretch with pleasure instead of panic, instead of dismissing it because it's not logical. It means you lead with desire instead of delay. You choose to collapse time by collapsing the space between the knowing and the going for it. You do not wait for the green light. You decide that you are the green light. Oh, this feels so good, this conversation, right? So if you have been circling a decision, if you've been waiting for a sign, waiting for waiting for it to feel more easy or more certain or more obvious, or as I said earlier, maybe waiting for a full night's sleep, or waiting until you're not ever tired, or until you've got all of your shit together, managing your house. This is your reminder. Desire is the sign. Desire is the strategy, right? Trusting the desire and letting the desire reveal the strategy, that's what we do. And then taking action is the activation, right? Desire is the sign, action is the activation. The more quickly that you move from that want to action, the more powerful and profitable your business becomes. And if that kind of alignment and leadership and pleasure-led momentum is what you want to be building in your business and what you want to be building your business on, like those kind of foundations, pleasure and self-trust and desire and alignment from you, not from outside of you, you already know you're a pleasurepreneur, right? And you belong in the room where we make decisions like this daily. This is the point in the podcast now. This is the point of the conversation where I say, come into the Pleasurepreneur Mastermind. Do not delay. If this is something that you desire, maybe you don't know what the purpose of this desire is. Maybe you are telling yourself well, actually, no, the desire is to join the mastermind and tick off these boxes, but I'm not ready to tick off these boxes yet. We don't know what the purpose of our desire is, right? That is not for us to know. That is for us. That is to be revealed. Yeah. If you have the desire to step into the mastermind, take the action. And maybe right now that feels really scary. So take the smallest of the scary actions. Apply. Just fill in the application form. Send me a DM and ask me some questions that you've got. Book in a coffee with me, whether that's local or online. Take the messy action. Who knows where it's meant to lead? Maybe the desire isn't even to get you inside the mastermind, but it's to grow you into the person who sees that this is possible for you, that grows you into the person to see that you belong in these kind of rooms. Yeah, for you to see that you are at the level where this is what's available to you. Let yourself honor your desires and stop delaying them. Okay, I'm going to wrap that up there. My face is like bright red. I'm sweaty. I had like goosebumps throughout. And this has been the funnest, I want to say like channeled podcast episode, which is so funny because I'm like, I don't believe in signs. I don't wait for signs. And by the way, I do believe in letting yourself acknowledge the evidence that is in support of what it is you desire. If you are going after something, take the action, move for it, and collect the evidence that you're on the right path. What we focus on, we find the evidence of. So find and look for the evidence that is in support of the results that you want to create. That's it. I'm done. I am wrapping up this podcast episode. I'm sending you so much love. I'm going to have a cup of tea with my man. Good night for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. I would love to hear your thoughts on any of these podcast episodes. I only get, as I said, maybe in one of my last episodes, I only get numbers of downloads. I don't get to know who's listening or who's loving it or what you're getting out of it unless you come and share it with me. So please come and share it with me. I would love, love, love so much to hear what you're enjoying. I'm also open to requests. Send me a DM on Instagram. I'm going to pop the link to the Pleasurepreneur Mastermind in the show notes. I will be putting the application link in there. Click on it if you desire to be in the mastermind. Do not create that bigger gap where you are going to be second guessing yourself and doubting yourself and questioning if this is available to you or any of the above, right? If you desire it, click the link and apply. Making a decision is different to making a commitment. Let yourself have the desire, let yourself make the decision, take the messy action. All right, my loves, love you so much. Looking forward to opening some of those mastermind application forms. Bye for now.